Welcome back to another episode of the Small Business Big Deal podcast. I'm super excited today to welcome my guest, Ryan Wimpey, who's not too far away in Tulsa from me. Ryan, please introduce yourself to our audience and let us know what you do.
Hey, Tracy. Thanks for having me on. So
Absolutely.
I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I run Tip Top Canine Dog Training. We're a pet obedience company. We do pet obedience. We help people like Tracy with their dog when it sees a squirrel and is pulling them down the street. That's what my team does all day, every day. So we have 24 locations across the U.S. We have a call center. So I'm on the second story of our building. We have a call center. We answer the phones for all of our locations, book all their appointments, ship them all their gear, and do their marketing so they can focus on training their clients. And we've been doing it. I've been doing this since 2010, training dogs since 2007. So it's been a wild ride, but happy to be on, and let's go.
Oh my gosh, there's so much we're going to talk about in this, and I'm very excited. Again, I always say that these podcasts are selfish, and this one definitely makes that selfish list as well. But what inspired you to start Tip Top Canine, and how did your journey into dog training begin?
Really, the journey began with a massive amount of personal pain. So I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs kind of the same. Some people, some people they're just like, oh, I was just inspired. Really, I had a dog ruining my personal relationships. I lost a best friend over him. Next roommate started to act violent, threaten a lot of violence towards me and my dog, who was just a rescue, and he had a ton of problems. And so it got me obsessed with dog training. I didn't want to get rid of this dog. Eventually I was in college, 18 years ago. And eventually I had to send the dog to go home and live with my mom because didn't know what to do with it. Right.
Yeah.
So it was super sad. He was my little buddy. I rescued him off the side of the road. And now, he's not with me. And my mom never gave him back because he was a cool dog. But it got me obsessed with dog training, behavior modification. Hey, what does it actually take to really train a dog? Hey, a rescue with aggression, anxiety, what is really needed to change that behavior? Not like band-aid it, but like really rehabilitate that behavior and change that dog's mindset. And it got me obsessed with dog training.
Yeah, because some of the saddest stories that you hear, like you love to hear when people rescue a dog, that sort of thing. But there was even a tragic story, recently of a rescue, and it was a former K-State football player, but he was actually I think he was on The Bachelor, and he actually got attacked by his dog, who had been a loving dog for a very long time, and it actually happened like 2 days in a row, and stitches, and they ultimately had to put the dog down, which was horrible, and just this like tragic story of this occurring. And so you
Yeah.
hear about it a lot. Like people want to do rescues, but unfortunately you don't know what a dog's background is, or where they've come from, or what they've experienced in their life, and how they may react, or when they may react to against their humans.
Yeah. Right now in the US, there's hundreds of thousands of dogs that get euthanized out of kill shelters like every year.
Hmm.
And most of them, most of them are fixable. They're helpable, right? There's something that can be done for them. And someone like that dog, potentially, what we normally see in training is this slow progression where there's like showing teeth, nipping, growling, and then it slowly progresses from that growling into nipping, nipping into biting, biting into, that deep puncture stitching. So normally there's a window of time where if we can get to the dog, there's still hope for that dog. So hopefully that's what Tip Top Canine's here for. We're here to try to get to those dogs before that happens.
Yes.
So that doesn't happen.
As you had to give your dog back to your mom and,
Yeah.
ruin this friendship, which is also a really tragic, sad part of this. And at the same time, what was kind of the first success of training a dog that inspired you and was like, okay, I actually can do this, and we can create a business out of helping these dogs and helping these relationships?
Yeah. The first few dogs I trained, it didn't work out that great. They listened, but they didn't listen off leash. They didn't listen with squirrels around or at the park or anything like that. It really took a few years and me working with multiple professionals. 2010, I started Tip Top Canine, started going full time. And I was literally in the beginning just trying to train people's dogs for free. Hey, can I even do this? I worked for another trainer for free for 6 months because they were like, hey, you're not good enough. I'm not going to hire you. Okay. So, I mean, literally, I was just obsessed. And that's one thing for someone wanting to start a business. It's very hard for people to turn down hunger.
Yeah.
Like if you have raw hunger and you're willing to work for free and someone else has a skill or talent that you don't have and you're willing to just do whatever they need, it's going to be hard for them to say no if you just keep coming.
Yeah, like just keep showing up and saying like, "Hey, this is what I want to do. I want to learn this." We've had people. So I am a serial entrepreneur, and I have a scuba diving shop, and we have a guy who's now our director of operations who left a multi six-figure job to come work for us for what feels like nothing to me. I just still don't know why we have him. But it was his passion, and he was just like, "I
Yeah.
just want to be around diving. I just want to, do this forever, and I want to teach people how to do it." And like how can you tell somebody with that sort of passion no? Like, and we were very clear, like, hey, don't disrupt your life for this. Like, we can't pay you what you were making there. And but it is that drive and that desire to be around something so much that it is hard to ignore. And as somebody who wanted that assistance, like I'm now trying to prevent him from leaving us and going like opening his own dive shop like in Florida or something. So but it is when you have that passion and you know that that's what it is that you want to do, there's nothing that's going to stop you from learning the skills and making it happen.
Yeah. So people got to put themselves out there. And then at some point, that new entrepreneur, the person that wants to get into that industry, they just need to take the leap. So when I started business in 2010, I had a $1,500 van with a $1,500 wrap on it and no website. Right.
hmm which
That,
which is good. Like again, marketing is the last. I mean, like websites, that kind of thing. Like you don't need that to start a business. You need a skill and you need the ability to let people know that you can help them.
yes. So with no lead gen, what I literally did 2010, I had a dog. He was trained. Right.
hmm
Would offer to train other people's dogs for free to start with, low cost. And then I would take these dogs and go train behind Chick-fil-A at lunchtime every day, 6, 7 days a week. And so it's lunchtime, 11 to 2. I'm training behind Chick-fil-A. And then people stop and they said, what these dogs are sitting on boxes? You got other dogs walking around. Like, what's going on? And that was my lead gen until I could hustle up enough money for an actual website.
And I mean, my God, like what what location in any city is not going to be busier than a Chick-fil-A at lunch?
Oh, so this is a Chick-fil-A in the middle. I'm in Tulsa, in the middle of Tulsa. This is the busiest Chick-fil-A line around. So they're just sitting there and then they're just looking out. And I got dogs on boxes in a yellow van, a giant yellow van, and dogs on a light pole, dogs on boxes, heeling dogs around. And people would just come, like sometimes we have 2 or 3 cars in a row, just, hey, what exactly are you doing? And I'd just be like, hey, I'm a professional dog trainer. Love to come out, free for me to come out, work with the dog, show you what I can do.
That
Hey, what's
has
your
to
phone
be
number?
the best lead gen of any startup I have
Sure.
ever heard. Like this needs an award or something because I cannot think of something that is more brilliant. I definitely wouldn't have come up with it. I love that. So you started getting people like visual on you. People knew what you were doing. You started working with them. Obviously, people started paying you. Um, but how quickly did you start expanding this business from just you and a van?
So not that quickly. It took multiple years. For a very long time. It was like me plus three. I had like roughly 2 to 3 employees, occasionally go up to four and then down to two. But it was really more home based, me plus three. And that was for multiple years, 4 years or so, before I was able to actually really grow. For a long time, I originally had a sales coach. His name was Robert Johnson. And he did sales coaching and executive coaching, and I drove 2 hours every week to Oklahoma City to meet with him. And he's like, hey, at some point, if you want to grow, you're gonna have to put down the leash and put on your CEO hat. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And so I never grew because I never stopped operating in the business.
Yeah. The biggest mistake that most owners make is that they think that they're the only ones that can do the thing, the whatever the client deliverable is supposed to be. And really, they need to be replacing that role first and making everything repeatable and trainable and to duplicate yourself and to get out of that seat so that way you can actually lead the company and lead your team. When you brought on those first few team members, what were those hires for? What roles were those individuals in?
They were in dog training roles. So I was doing sales and outside lessons. So I'd do a consult, meet with the client, show them what I could do, present packages, see which one they wanted to do. Very low pressure stuff.
Mhm.
Then Half of it is lessons where we go to the house. It's one-on-ones, half me, half them, then weeks worth of homework. The other part is board and trains where we take the dog 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, train him, and then go back and train mom and dad. I was training board and train people to come to my house and train dogs because I would have multiple dogs at my house.
Hmm.
Then eventually I trained the next one to do lessons, and I was doing a little bit of everything. And then we just kind of kept growing like that.
How did you continue to develop and like refine the methodologies that we were using? So you had originally worked with other trainers kind of to
Mhm.
start up, but
Yeah.
obviously as you experience more breeds and more challenges and this kind of thing, how did you continue your education at the same time of trying to grow the business?
Well, I think it was actually good that I didn't grow the business for multiple years because I stayed hands on.
Hmm.
And you know, we're currently, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's the lowest income market of all the tip tops. So we have a lot of street dogs. We have, we have a lot of street animals. So we have hard dogs, real serious aggression, real serious behavior issues. And I think staying hands on for a long period of time really helped refine out the system. And then as I started training people, that is really where we started refining. I started learning about systems, right? In 2004, 2005, started documenting. So, like, my first system was like a 3 ring binder that was like hole punched, right? And I'm like typing it out, hole punching it, putting it in there just because I'm like, okay, I have to make systems to train people,
Hmm.
right? So eventually I just started writing out. I mean, someone gave me a 1 page sheet and I was like, I looked at the 1 page for like a long time, but eventually I'm like, hey, this is just outline. It doesn't actually help.
Yeah. It's like you actually have to have something that you can teach and that you can repeat in order for other people to continue to grow that skill set as well.
Correct.
How do you think that your methodologies that you've somewhat developed, that you've researched, how do they differ from other organizations who do something similar? I mean, you've franchised this pretty significantly, but there's got to be something that sets you apart.
Yes. So most of the dog trainers out there, we're going to go a little scientific, but most of the dog trainers out there, they're using operant conditioning. They're either reward based, hey, I lure you into behavior with food. When you do the command, I pay you, or punishment based, hey, you know how to do it off food now. If you don't do it, there's going to be a negative consequence. And then you have some that are more negative reinforcement, where they apply pressure, maybe with a prong collar or shock collar. And then if the dog when they listen, then they kind of turn off pain. So that's kind of the 3 ways. And some trainers use all three,
Hmm.
right? We use a classical conditioning instead of consequence, like do good, there's a reward, do bad, there's a punishment. We do classical conditioning. So if you remember science class with Pavlov with the food and the bell, he
Yes.
gives the dog food and they salivate. He rings the bell and gives him food, does that a few hundred times, gets rid of the food, rings the bell, dog salivates.
Yes.
Classical conditioning is based off involuntary and automatic responses. Teaches an automatic response, not thinking, should I do this? Do I want to avoid the punishment? Do I want that biscuit? And so we focus on classical conditioning. We use a remote training car. It uses a mild muscle stim as a little tap on the shoulder for the dog. I do basically, I teach a dog a command like come. I put a leash on him. I put the little e-collar on him, and I tap him on the shoulder. And when he moves towards me, I teach him basically to move towards me. And then I go leash tap come, and I add a word. And then like the bell, I phase out the leash. I go tap come, and then eventually I phase out the little tap. And so our system is very, very linear. Most dog training is very artsy fartsy, right? It's kind of all over the place. It's very guru-ish. So if you come to my local location in Tulsa, my people are training the same. If you go to Tampa, Florida, or Troy, Michigan, they're training with the exact same system. They use the same wordage. We have the same 6 steps to work come, the same 6 steps to work place. And it's just systemized where every other dog training facility is using a different conditioning method. They're using operant conditioning, but they're also rarely are they systemized.
How do you keep the quality consistent across all of those franchises?
Great question. 2 things. We do a full money back guarantee. So if you're with Tip Top and you want to train like an idiot, there's going to be a full money back guarantee, and the call center that supports you answers all your client customer service calls.
Yeah.
So if you want to train subpar, you're going to get destroyed. And then also we do 3 times the initial training of any other franchise type unit. So we do 6 weeks, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, 6 straight weeks of initial training. So our locations get a lot of training, and then we do 2 seminars a year as well for additional training, and we have trainers that we can go out, etc. But really, part of it's just our culture. So when they're here for 6 weeks, we can really kind of brainwash them a little bit to the standard.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's obviously in their best interest, because with the, Google reviews and everything how it is, like if you get fire breathing clients, they're going to scorch your world. So that's really
Yeah.
how we've done it, though.
When when did you decide you wanted to franchise this? Like originally you wanted to be like the best dog training in Oklahoma. And when
Right.
did you decide that, I mean, I'm guessing that you want to be the best dog training company in the country. I mean, when did that sort of transition happen and what made you go that direction rather than opening up like corporate stores?
Yeah, well, this is a great question. I started building out the systems, right? Which like your listeners specifically, hey, build out your systems. Even if you don't think you're going to franchise, build it as if you're going to franchise. That's, great advice from E-Myth by Michael Gerber. Hey, even if you're not going to franchise, build it the same way. So we originally were going to do more corporate stores. And so we systemized. My wife started the call center, which was the hardest part, the support wise, when I first started. And then we started with some corporate stores, but very quickly we realized, hey, the barrier to entry in dog training is very low. Anyone can hang a shingle. Like we have idiots go out and compete with us all the time. Someone, hey, I took an online course, I'm now pro. And they run Google ads. They watch a YouTube video, they turn on Google ads, they build a $500 website.
Hmm.
Anyone can do that in dog training because it's not regulated.
Oh.
So what we decided is we started growing. We added some corporate stores. And then we're like, these managers, they're going to have to be on like some sort of equity if I'm going to keep them long term, 7, 10 years, whatever.
Hmm.
So we said, hey, why don't we just give them all the equity? I mean, let's just give them all the equity. So originally, I'm a little bit of a control freak. Originally, I didn't want a franchise, right? You lose some control.
Hmm.
But then we realized, hey, who's going to care more about that individual location? Someone who's managing it for me or someone who owns it? When they own it, the bad review is against them. It's not against me. It's
Hmm.
against them. It's against my brand technically, but it's really against them. And they take so much more personal initiative. And obviously we vet our people. So we get a lot of applications and we do vet our people really good too. But the ownership is just, it's great.
I love that. And yes, I preach E-Myth all the time to anyone and everyone who will listen. All of my clients either get it recommended it to them or I give them copies of the book myself because
Nice.
I do. And I even tell like solopreneurs. So you started out on your own and document your processes, have processes for everything. And it feels so weird as a solopreneur to actually document those, even as a small company where you've got 2, 3, 4 people, working within it. People push back constantly and say, I don't have time to document. Well, if you don't have time to document, then you don't have time to train somebody else to take something off of your plate when it comes to it. And if you don't have a great way to train them, you're going to have a really bad onboarding relationship with your employee. You're going to have a bad start to that. It's going to not going to end well. And the fact that you just reiterated that, it just makes me smile inside because again, I could say it until I am blue in the face that every single business needs to have their processes documented regardless if you want to franchise or grow or
Yes.
scale. You have to do it to even bring one person on into your organization and have it go seamless. Were all your did you have everything documented when you brought on those first couple of people?
So when we first started multiple corporate stores, it
Mhm.
was pretty documented. But we learned really quick what was missing. So,
The
um,
gaps will show up really, really quickly in
oh,
those conversations because unless
yeah,
somebody else has gone through it and gone like, "Hey, Ryan, like, I actually need the rest of this out of your head,"
yeah,
it's not all there.
yeah. So now if people are like, "Hey, what do I need to do to grow?" I'm like, "Okay, what's your number one money making task? What's your service or product? However you make it. Okay, video it, transcribe it into a checklist, and hand it to somebody that's not you. And whenever it breaks, because it will break, version 1, you're going to take it back, redo it again, give it to them. See if they can do it based off the steps. and then keep doing that until they can do it. And then double the amount of sales you're making. You do more sales and less of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then hand that, now version 4 or 5, hand that to the second person and see what breaks until you nail that checklist. Then go after your sales, right? Then go after your marketing.
Yeah, Ryan, you're exactly right. Like I mean, that is the easiest, simplest way to be able to scale a position or a task or to get something off of somebody's plate. I mean, especially an owner, or even a manager, and to be able to develop your team underneath of you. Because just because the people at the top know how to do it doesn't mean that the people at every level in the company don't need to understand or be able to do it if necessary.
Correct. So we have a products company that supports all of our locations. Right now, I have a 20-year-old young lady who manages all the orders. Right, she has a 65-page document on how to order from the vendors, how to process everything. She has a 65-page document. Right, it took like a week and a half to train her.
Hmm.
Okay, so did that document take a long time? Yes. And I only actually did the first 15 pages and then I trained a manager. He did the rest. We did those together. He did it. And then he did from 15 to 65 or however long. I don't even know exactly how long it is now, but it was 65. Right. And she's only like one out of 200, 250 is how many errors she's been at.
And
Right.
I would also guess that that 65-page document took longer than the week and a half that it took to train her to put together.
It was a disaster. Yeah. It took a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is the single most important thing that you spend time on, but it is the number one place that people will skimp on or push back or refuse. Like the number of people who just tell me like, "Tracy, I don't have time for that." I know immediately that they don't have the mentality to actually be able to scale their company in a
Yeah.
sustainable, profitable way.
Tracy, I'll tell you two horrible stories. Um, One, my aunt and uncle, tree climbing business. They were the main owners and operators. They maxed at about 2 employees. They ran it for about 15 years, sold everything for dimes on the dollar, right?
Yeah.
My dad, he inherited a business from my grandfather, and these are good people. They're good people, but they struggled with the systems, right? They hadn't seen it before. Their mind didn't work that way. My dad, great man. He's an excellent, excellent man, but he inherited a business. It's been around for 55 years. It's closed now. He worked in it for over 30 years and they sold stuff for pennies on the dollar and couldn't sell it from lack of systems. So, like, I've seen this lack of systems with my own eye. Both of them could barely take week vacations. Everything would fall and crumble,
Mhm.
right? They're the head wizard. There's no systems. Like, if you don't know how to do something, you go to the wizard. It's like tribal knowledge.
Yeah. This is exactly what I teach business owners. I mean, so I use basically John Warlow's value builder program and let owners understand that they can't be the blockade and that they are going to be the reason that their business is either not going to sell or it's going to sell for pennies on the dollar because you can't be everything in your business and still have it be valuable. So teaching them that you have to be able to have other people in place. You've got to have, repeatable, sellable systems inside of it. Otherwise, no one's going to want to buy it, even if it's an excellent business with a great brand and all of these things behind it. If the owner is the end all be all and everything lives in their head and there's no systems inside of it, it likely won't sell. And honestly, even like this generation that we have of business owners who is getting ready to have this mass retirement out of all of these companies that are started right now, if somebody wants to go pick up a business for extra cheap, it's the time to do it because these businesses are going to
Yeah.
close and not sell, or they're going to sell for what you're talking about, pennies on the dollar, because the owner
Yeah.
never could get themselves out of the primary role to actually direct the business and not be the business.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice because I saw both of them, and they have these long time businesses with loyal customers,
Mhm.
right, and a solid brand name. And it wasn't the brand or lacking of it, and it wasn't the lack of profit. It's just if they sell it, who wants to buy a job?
Right. Yeah, you have to be able to buy an actual company. And when there is, too much dependence on one employee or one supplier or anything like that, you don't have a valuable business. And we see just so many people right now that their kids don't even want to take these businesses over. But this is going to be the largest transfer of wealth in the history of the US economy. And I am going to be very, very interested in the numbers when they come out of how many of these businesses actually just closed
I
rather
was
than being
ready to.
transferred. I don't have a percentage, I don't have a number. I know it's millions of businesses, of all sizes, right? There's all kinds of different things that people have, but if now is the time to get your business to be valuable, and that is whether you just started it or you've been in it for 10 years or you wanna exit it in 5 years, like, now is the time, and it's never too late to actually get to that point to create a valuable business. Like, you are like my little shining example of what I feel like I preach all day, every day, to business owners because they don't understand that now is the time, because you don't know. I mean, you're going to leave your business no matter what, and you're either gonna sell it, you're going to close it, or you're going to die. And at some point, you got to hope that it's going to be valuable enough to sustain someone else beyond you.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without systems, I used to work crazy hours. When dogs were in my house, it'd be 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days
Okay.
a week.
So I want to actually, this is really what I want to dig into now because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you just told us that your wife works with you in the business.
Yes.
So that's super exciting, and I want to know more about that dynamic.
Only if you care about scale. Yeah.
But what exactly did she say to you? Were you married when you started this, and you just started bringing dogs
Oh,
home? Like, how did
yeah.
that conversation go? Because I've brought home
So,
a dog before, and it did not go well,
mhm.
and I was not trying to train it.
Yeah. Well, she's pretty understanding. Um, but when we were dating, I would have five, six, seven dogs at the house at a time, right? In 1,400 square foot house or so. Sometimes more than that. But so I would have all these dogs in my house anyways, get the carpets cleaned once a month. The guy just regularly came. And, she wasn't super excited about it, but she was like, okay, I mean, at least the money's pretty good, right? Because the money was good. If there's no overhead and you do it out of your house, like our average sale right now is depending on the locations, $2,400 to $2,800.
Hmm.
Set times seven, like that's pretty good if you have zero overhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, but after the third employee, so I'm training a third guy in our living room at 7 a.m., like Monday morning. And she's like, okay, I can't even come out of the room. Like, we're newly married. Like, this is too much. So she was okay at first, but then eventually she's like, hey, this is too much. And I'm like, well, if we get a building, we've been married 11 years. So she's like, if we get a building, then we're going to have to sell more. And she was like, sell more.
Yeah. Like,
Right?
do that part.
Yeah, yeah. Newsflash. Why don't you double what you're doing? Right. So I had the sales coach for a long time tell me I need to put it on. She really helped me put it on. And then I'm like, let's put on that CEO hat. And then she was able to take over a lot of the back office stuff. So one thing, like a lot of the visionary type people, friends that I have, and they're like the hard charging entrepreneur, they need someone like my wife, Rachel, to come up behind them and kind of clean up their mess and organize everything to make sure they don't miss stuff. When she first took over, we had 60 grand in missing payment plans that we missed. 60 grand. So I'm running a home based business between me and one other guy doing sales. 60 grand that we just missed because we're just running at all times. I mean, that's stupid. That's like 2014, 60 grand.
I was gonna say there's a lot of people that $60 is a good thing, or $600 when you start
Yeah.
talking about $60,000. But I understand it. Like,
Yeah.
so you go at such a pace. And again, as a business grows, like, there's just more zeros on the problem, right? Like, it could be a $600 missed invoice that a smaller company has. It could be a $60,000, problem. It really just is zeros added onto the capacity of that. I understand how it happens because all you're trying to do is serve those clients, and you're trying to do the thing that is helpful and that you enjoy, because the back end work isn't fun. It's not glamorous. And it is the thing that mostly is the time suck and energy suck from somebody who is a visionary and who loves being hands on in the client and, final product work.
Yeah. I think today, as soon as someone starts to build some systems, they have to focus on that admin side that they don't like. Um, for me, we've had two big things lately. We changed call center softwares. It was mind numbing, just nerd talk. And then we had a 10% increase in booked consultations across 24 locations. Well, that's huge, huge numbers. Same when we roll out a website, when we got an immediate 5 to 8% conversion boost, right? And so I'm like, okay, our conversions immediately went up depending on the month, 5 to 8%. Like, heck yeah, let's go. So at some point, that stuff that you don't like, you're going to have to do to really grow the business, even if you just start it, systemize it, and then hand it off. If you hand it off without any systems in place, it's probably not going very far.
No, and again, you have to know what it is. So even like the clients that we work with from my consulting side of the company, like they still have to understand why we're telling them to do what it is that we're telling them to do. Because if they don't understand it, like the doing without the education isn't going to be beneficial to them. Like I know they'll come to us because they just want an answer, they just want something done, and I prioritize education within that because if we don't teach them, they're not going to know one if it's wrong or if somebody else starts doing it, they're not going to know what questions to ask. And so all of a sudden, if you've brought somebody in to, in this case, do your numbers, do your books, and let's say it wasn't your wife, or it was somebody else, that's a really good way for fraud to occur. That's a really good way for somebody to start stealing from you or not having an idea of how to look at your numbers and know if they're accurate and to be able to question decisions that you're making. But if you don't have that education and the time spent in that admin work, which again, we all agree is not fun for a visionary, but if you don't understand it, you're not going to be able to know if something is wrong, even right underneath your nose.
Yeah, I think understanding it, knowing each part of the business, even if you're not stuck in it, even if you don't stay there all the time, you have to know it at least to know what winning looks like in every single area.
Yes. So, just by the things that you're saying, one, I think I'm already just obsessed with this conversation, but you're obviously like very big into business development and developing yourself personally and education around understanding business. So, are you guys operating like EOS? What are you doing in your business, or where's all of this love of coaching and acceptance of help from other people? Like, where does that come from for you?
That comes, I'm very acceptant from coaches and consultants because I'm not as smart as a lot of people. But I am smart enough to know if I keep stacking coaches and consultants on top of each other, if I keep sucking out 15 and 20 years of experience and I put 90% of their experience to my account in a year,
Hmm.
I'm going to get a lot smarter. And that's what we've been doing. To start with, we would stay with one coach for a long time. Now we coach stack, right? Just multiple. So, like working with a lady right now, Shannon Wilburn, she started a franchise. She does coaching and consulting. She's very expensive, but she started a franchise. She went to 150 locations, ran it for 20 years, and had to exit.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, she knows things that I don't yet.
Hmm.
Right? Another guy we're coaching with, he managed 5 brands that had a collective 1,500 stores. And so applied to be in his mastermind, sign the NDA, etc. But like he's scaled 100 times past where I'm at. Right. So again, those type of people, conversion people, etc. I want to take everything that they know and I want to pay them and I want to put that knowledge to my account right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to move you further faster, and it's a lot less mistakes along the way that you didn't have to do. I mean, I feel like as soon as we can share a downfall or a mistake that we've made with somebody, they're not going to make the same one. Like, my God, if somebody could skip all of the mistakes that I made in business or that I see other clients make that I can share those experiences with people only go further faster with consultants and coaches and people around them again who are smarter and have more experience that they can share with them. But you do have to level up. Like once you've exceeded, what one of those coaches has done, you do have to go to another level. You do have to find kind of that next step. Like the same person is not going to move you from 100,000 to a million, and they're not going to move you from a million to 100 million. Like those are different types of people and they're different caliber
Right.
of consultants. I love the idea of stacking people on top of that. And I appreciate somebody who understands that somebody else is going to move you further faster.
I think it's pride or ego to say, I can spend the next 10 years on Facebook ads and then I can be good as Steve is. He doesn't even do Google ads. He doesn't even understand it. He's done one thing since it started. Only one guy obsesses on Facebook ads, runs huge accounts.
Mhm.
Possibly he has more knowledge than me, right? It's the same on franchising. I don't want to wait 15 years to put all that knowledge in. I don't want to run 150 locations before I understand what I should be thinking, how I should be doing it, the mindset, the team structure, etc.
Let's skip the learning curve and let's just get straight to the profitability part of it. Like, if you can pay to do it, like, I'm all in.
Yeah, we want to make as much money as we can right now. I don't see any reason to learn slow and then make money at a slower rate.
No, and there's no reason again to go out and learn how to run your own ads. Like, my God, just pay somebody who is better at it than you. Like, I love to learn and I love to learn from other people and I love to enhance my own skills. But there are some things that I just don't need to learn and I don't care to want to learn. And Facebook ads and Google ads are definitely one of them. I will happily pay somebody who has
Right.
that skill set and knowledge to do it because I'm not interested in doing something that also just makes me insane. Like, talk about sucking the life out of an entrepreneur. My God, set them in front of a meta AI ad
Yeah.
deck and like I don't want any part of that.
Yeah. So we're doing that right now. We're changing new calendar, CRM, invoicing software, a whole like new package of custom software. And it's like, we're going through the list of 500 check boxes,
And I think it's
super
also
exciting.
important to say, though, that while you are adding systems, you're not necessarily changing your process. And you may have to tweak it a little bit, but the idea is that people have processes before they have systems. And just because someone's buying a piece of software does not mean that it is a process. You actually need the process to understand what system needs to go into the business. And we see this happen a lot with people. They're like, oh, well, here's this cool online software and it's going to do everything we need. Well, actually don't even know what you do in order to put that process into the system or to be able to evaluate it appropriately to see if it actually meets your needs. Do you think that if you wouldn't have all of these processes already documented and know that they work, would you have been able to effectively evaluate the new system that you were putting in place with that?
No, what I've told our team specifically is, hey, we do not make changes to make changes. We make improvements, and if it's not an improvement, we're not changing it. So if we have everything that works and we have a system that works, I'm going to put technology on top of that. So the technology that we're looking at and starting to trial and implement, we looked at other ones that were prettier. They had a better user interface, but we would have had to actually change our systems that are working really well. And we're not going to do that. I mean, if a call center is booking, depending on the month, 60 to 70% of incoming leads, like we're not freaking changing anything. Right. That's pretty good for our industry. So we're staying right there. If anything, we're going to try to squeak out higher percentages. But I don't want to actually change the workflow. I want the tech to sit right on top of my workflows and go with it.
Yeah, and the good rule of thumb when adding tech onto anything is if it's going to change something, it needs to make it more profitable or more efficient. But it's not
Yes.
actually changing the process system in place. It is simply technology that's going to make things easier.
Yes. Love it. Could not agree more.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like this is just textbook and I want to invite you talking to like half of my clients and I'm probably going to use this episode and send it to a few people
Nice.
because these are the things that I feel like we repeat all of the time. With this business, what has been the most rewarding aspect of your entrepreneurial journey?
The most rewarding aspect used to be training dogs, seeing this behavioral change in a dog and the clients lighting up, just falling in love with their dog again when they were really experiencing a lot of frustration. Today, it's seeing the new entrepreneurs go into it, own a tip top canine, and their life has now changed. One lady, Yasmin, she runs a Idaho location for Tip Top. Her husband was a truck driver. Her goal was like, hey, he's making like 100 grand a year plus truck driving, but he's gone 3.5 weeks out of the month, and we've got a kid, and I want him home. And her goal in opening a Tip Top was to replace his revenue so he could come home. Right? He came home after 3 months, and then she sent him to Tip Top, back to corporate, and we trained him. But now they're working together. So stories like that, that's what juices me up now, because she's going to change all those dogs' lives in that area, but then their personal life training and Tip Top has actually improved their life personally. So it's super, super rewarding.
Oh, I love hearing that. And you're right. Like working with other entrepreneurs, and in this case, people who have been staff members of you or of yours and now have their own locations, and seeing that growth in people and seeing what it can impact their lives, that now they're in control of their time, their money, and they are really
Yeah.
the ones that are leading their own charge instead of just collecting a paycheck and building somebody else's dream. Like, that has got to be, I mean, it's definitely one of the most rewarding things for me. And I love that that's kind of been the shift from see dogs have really amazing lives, and now you're seeing humans have amazing lives
Yeah.
because of dogs.
Yeah. I was telling you even before we started recording, one of our guys who's a manager, he's been managing for me right now. He's been with me 6 years. His name is Joe. Well, Joe started as a kennel tech, like a $10 an hour job, hard job. Walk dogs, potty dogs, clean kennels. Not glorifying. Before that, he worked at McDonald's. And he literally went from kennel tech. He worked hard. He started doing the job with two people. So I said, hey, promote that guy to trainer. He was a trainer. He worked even harder, did more than work for two people. So he said, I put him to assistant manager, and then now he's manager. Well, he started at $10 an hour. Now he's making like 80 grand a year, and he's getting ready in another year and a half. He's going to start his own location. Like, seeing that personal growth is super exciting. Like, super exciting. Like, my wife's pregnant right now. She was literally crying over it yesterday.
Oh, I love that. What do you think how do you think that that kind of story and that internal growth from your own employees has helped the culture of your company, and how do you think that culture is also distributed to those franchises?
Yeah. So right now, culture wise, 40% of the locations were either past clients or they were past corporate employees. So almost half of the locations carry our exact DNA. So as far as the training, it literally is looking exactly the same. How they handle client interactions, how they do consultations, everything, because they came from corporate. And then when the other franchisees talk with them, it's not like, hey, I'm telling them to do it. Other their peer group is actually telling them like how to do things correctly. So I think it really helps our culture a lot.
Love that. If you could go back and give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Advice for young Ryan, I would probably say two things. One, start documenting your stuff earlier. Two, spend more time training your guys from A to Z. So I need to document my things first. But when I trained my people early on, I would get them to about 70, 80, 85%, and I would drop them. I wouldn't make sure they were completely done because I was busy. I was working 80 hours a week, running around like a madman because I had no systems, no idea what I was doing. And I think a lot of people, they err on that. The guy's just good enough. He's a B minus, and they drop the training. Now I would try to say, hey, Ryan, stay with them until they're all the way finished with their training, right? Make sure they're done. And then three, you were talking about Google ads. I'm somewhat deep into the Google ads, not the meta. Either way, I think I had early on a hard time holding those marketing companies accountable. I had to learn it because I was getting screwed,
Mhm.
right? I was getting screwed, and I didn't know. And I didn't know how to fact check them. And now with tools like Upwork, I can go pay someone $200. Hey, I want a 20-minute audit. I'm never going to hire you for Google ads. I want you to audit and tell me what's wrong with this account. If nothing's wrong, tell me nothing's wrong. But I want you, here's $200. I just want a 20-minute video. And I post that, and people, I just go for the highest, or I go for three people, right? And I pay $600 because I'm paying someone, whatever, $500 to $1,500 a month to manage. And then I get two or three videos on an audit, and then I can have an honest conversation and say, hey, these are three audits. What are we going to do about this? Do I need to look for another provider, or can we fix this? Why did I have to find this out myself?
Yeah. That's a really great tip, to be able to kind of, yeah, audit the work that's being done. I mean, especially because you're not paying an insignificant amount of money when it does come to ad spend, that sort of thing, and making sure that who you've got actually does know what they're doing, because it is an ever changing game. And I feel like all of
It
those
is.
ads, it's every day. It could be different on algorithms and who sneezed and decided that now they're just not showing your ads in some other places. So I,
Now we let them know
yes.
right off the bat, hey, we're going to audit you with third-party vendors, just FYI.
That's brilliant. Definitely
Yep.
writing that one down and sharing it. So I am all about like self-care, personal time,
Yeah.
making sure that I have work life alignment. I don't call it balance. Balance is BS. I don't believe in it. But alignment with what my values are. How do you ensure that you are taking care of yourself, your family? Where does that alignment come for you?
Well, I don't work 80 hours a week anymore. I normally, really, I work like 40 hours a week or so right now. Right. When we have locations in for training, depending on if a lot of my managers are out, sometimes we'll go up 50, 60, but really, I don't put in the marathon times. I'm out of the toxic work till you die 90 hours a week is the minimum. I'm not in that culture anymore. I have two kids, right? I would like them to know who dad is, right? And we're still growing at a good pace with that. And I also work out regularly. I have a personal trainer. It's expensive, but without someone dinging my card if I don't go, whether I go or not, that the personal trainer helps me. Next is just the pre-made meals. That's next on the list.
Outsourcing the things that keep us accountable. So I also have a trainer. I agree with that. Like again, I'm not going to show up to a gym and just go do my own workout. Like even if it was written down, I'm just not going to do it. I need somebody sitting there telling me exactly what to do and moving me through it. It's kind of the same way that I hire coaches in business. Like again, I want to go further faster. I'm not going to go stare at a bunch of machines and go, wonder which I should be on today and like what's it going to do for me? Like I don't want that type of thinking to go into my
Right.
my routine. Like just tell me what to do and I will do it. And it's amazing the progress you can make when you just listen to somebody else.
Yeah.
And those simple, yeah, having meals, prepped and ready for you, so you don't have to think about dinner, and it gives you more time to connect with your family or your wife at the end of the
Yes.
day as well.
Yeah, but yeah, self care is important. The working out though, that's the biggest one. Everyone's got to go in there, and I think that one sets the pace for everything else.
I love it. Okay, a couple of fun questions before we wrap up here. So, what's your favorite breed of dog and why?
Chocolate Lab. I just got one Friday. I have one already. Chocolate Labs or any labs, black labs, yellow labs. I like them all because they are high energy. They're fun. They're happy. They're silly, and they don't bite people for the most part.
Yes,
Most of them, anyways.
love
But I
that.
love Labradors. They're my favorite.
So my dog that I was talking to you about earlier, she is a 3-year-old purebred Labradoodle. So she looks more like a
Nice.
wolfhound because she just
Yeah.
has this like little beard thing going on. She's adorable. But she's the one that sees a squirrel, and I hope to God I don't have her on a leash when that happens because my arm would be missing entirely. It would not be good. She just loves to go run after squirrels. She recalls fairly easily, but no,
Nice.
she would not. She's not a leash dog. I can't figure it out. Maybe you can give me a
Yeah,
tip on
I
it.
like doodles though. Doodles are fun. They're just crazy. They're just always going to be a little wild.
Just insane, just absolutely crazy. If you weren't in the dog training business, what other career path might you have taken?
Um, well, probably be another service based industry. So right now, if I wasn't in dog training, I would just go into another service based. I don't do manufacturing. Like I've been in a service based business, and they look pretty similar. Like I got a buddy with a septic tank company. It's the same thing, except instead of aggressive dogs, it's someone and their septic tank's overflowing. And he shows up and it's 3 grand. And they're like, I guess I don't know what else I have. It's a call center, it's ads, it's the same thing. It's service based businesses look pretty much the same, just depending on the ticket item.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what book or podcast has significantly influenced your approach to business or life?
So I think the Lean Startup or Ready Aim Fire,
Mhm.
those books kind of got me out of that analysis paralysis, thinking I must figure this out perfectly before I can implement. And it let me see other people's perspective of, hey, you don't know how the market is going to respond to your idea. Put your idea out there, get feedback, and iterate as quickly as possible. Those books really eliminated that analysis paralysis for me.
Love that. And I will link those in the show notes as well. Ryan, this conversation has been so much fun. Like I said, listening to you is like listening to myself preach to clients. Like everything I tell them to do, you have implemented in your business. You have scaled an incredible service. You are helping people and dogs at the same time in very different capacities, from your employees and your team to the owners who probably had some really unruly animal that they struggled with but wanted to love. And making those connections is something really, really special. And I am so glad that you have shared your story with
Hey, Tracy. Well, thank you so much for having me on and giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely. So, where can people find you or one of your locations? Again, we'll list this all in the show notes, but give us the best places to connect with you.
Yeah, Tip Top Canine, TIPTOPK9.com is where we're at online. And I'm on LinkedIn, Ryan Wimpey, and I'm not anything else, just LinkedIn.
Excellent. LinkedIn's my favorite place too, so I'm actually make sure I connect with you there
Perfect.
as well. But I look forward to getting this out into the world so people can learn more about you and hopefully connect their pets with your trainers as well. So thank you again so much for joining me.
Thank you.